What's up, Queen? How you doing?
I'm so excited to hang with you.
Much better.
Look at that face. I miss that face.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good.
Just spent like 3 hours sanding. I'm like over it.
Where are you sanding?
I'm making a shelving unit for my new apartment.
Nice. So how long have you been in there?
A month, a little over a month. But it's taken a little longer to get settled in because, you know, everything's taken a really long time to be delivered and things are closed here. So we're just kind of like going with the flow. We'll be in eventually.
But laughing because my fern, I have plants in my shop, in my showroom. And if you look behind you, there's one that's dying.
Oh, why are you killing your plant?
I'm not killing it. Okay, so what I like to do before we get started is for everyone that's on, tell us where you're from.
Yes.
So how was your day?
My day was good. I worked for my full-time job, and then I'm in the shop now.
The hustle is real. What's up, MJ?
Oh my God, MJ, I love you so much. Lindsay, hi!
Cali, DC, Toronto, Richmond, VA.
Adam.
Oh, we're doing a location check-in. Ottawa, Perth, Australia.
Whoa.
Isn't there a famous band from Perth?
What time is it in Australia? Like, legitimate question.
What's up, Brooklyn? What time is it in Australia? Houston, Texas. So
I'm all over. I love this.
So while they're doing that, right, I have a couple of questions I want to ask.
Okay.
To kick this off. All right. What was your favorite subject in high school?
Ooh, I was a theater kid in high school. I loved theater. That was my favorite. I actually, by the time I was in my senior year, I was taking like 3 theater classes all day with like my other courses. So that for sure was like my jam. Okay.
All right. Favorite food?
Grilled cheese and Sour Patch Kids, not together, but like are my 2 favorite foods. And I can't decide which one I like more. So.
Favorite band?
I got a couple. Like I'm all over the place with this one. I'm a reggae girl. Like I love like Expendables, Revolution, but I also love like Incubus and like more alternative music as well. So that's kind of like where I flow.
All right. Favorite movie?
Anchorman, hands down. Can like tell you any line in that movie.
What's your favorite line?
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Favorite song?
Favorite song? Ooh, that's a tough one. Probably, I'm trying to think of like a song that I could listen to on repeat like all day long. Ooh, I don't know. I will say like I'm a Broadway person, so like maybe not so much.
Man, give me a song.
But I say because I listen to the Hamilton album like all day long, like that's on repeat. But that's like 60 songs, so.
So there's none that stick out that keep playing. No song that keeps.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like I just like to listen to whatever makes me happy and makes me jam and like zone out and yeah.
Okay. All right. Now this is for you.
Okay.
Bike or car?
Car.
All right. I know what the other person will say.
Oh yeah, my other half would say bike like in 2 seconds. Like that wouldn't even like no hesitation. Bike.
Pepperoni or cheese?
Cheese. I actually can't eat meat. I'm like kind of allergic to it.
I don't eat meat either. Beer or wine?
Beer. I'm a beer girl.
All right. Bottle or tap water?
Not really picky, but I mean it is kind of nice to have bottled water.
Okay. This is pretty cool. All right. Closer to your mom and dad? Both your mom and dad are super cool.
They're both here. I'm gonna get grilled. They told me that
What's
they were.
Up?
Honestly, here's the thing. dad is like my partner in crime for like the projects, the woodworking, the home improvement stuff, and then mom is like my go-to human. Like she is like my person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that would be mom.
But I hear them. That was a good answer, right?
How many siblings?
I have 2 siblings.
Okay. Older, younger,
Two
brother,
younger.
sister?
Yep, I'm the oldest and I'm the only girl.
Okay. Have you ever slept outside overnight sober?
I've never slept outside. Like, I've never gone camping or anything, so no.
Okay. Have you ever been too drunk to get home?
I always make it home.
That's for mom and dad. Okay, so if you were on a deserted island, what one thing would you take with you? One thing. There's no electricity.
I honestly, my answer off of that, like when I watch those survival shows, is always like a fire starter. I'm like, people need fire starters. Like that, I feel like is my thing.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So no dogs. Alan just said dogs. No dogs.
Throw the dogs in there. Of course, I want to bring them, but then I have to choose between like both of them, and that's not fair. So.
All right. You know what I should have done that I didn't do? I should have asked the people to comment and answer those questions as well.
Oh my God.
But
actually, like, I actually want to know, like, what would you guys bring if you were on a desert island? Because, like, you have those shows, like, Naked and Afraid, like, Survivor, and sometimes they bring stuff. I'm like, why would you bring that? You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
right.
like, I don't know. What would people bring?
Yeah, so what would you all, the audience that listen, what would you all bring on a deserted island? So we're going to start from high school. After high school, what did you do?
After high school, I went to undergrad and I got my bachelor's in psychology. And then from there, I got my master's in psychology. And then I decided to go all the way and got my PhD in psychology.
Okay, slow down, man. Slow down. All right.
There's a lot. I'm a lot to unpack.
So let's unpack it slowly.
Okay.
All right. So you are in college. Where'd you go to college?
I went to undergrad at Stony Brook University.
So that was close to home. Did you commute? It's a commuter school.
I dormed.
It's a dorm. Okay. All right. So
this is one pup I bring to the island. Okay.
So you're in college, and any extracurricular, any intramural sports?
In college, I was a minor in theater, so I did some plays. That was kind of like my extracurricular thing, is I did some acting.
Okay. Did you work at all?
Yes. When I was in college, I kind of teetered between like retail jobs, but also like helping my dad at job sites. So I like did a lot of work with him. He did like estate clean outs and like house flips and stuff. So I helped him with that a lot when I was in college.
Okay. All right. What was the coolest thing you did during that time? Any particular jobs that you remember?
Honestly, I feel like working with my dad was the coolest thing because I got to learn like so much, and it's all like valuable stuff that I get to like bring with me now when I have my own home soon, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So after graduating college, then what?
I graduated college. I went to grad school.
Immediately?
Yeah, immediately.
Okay.
I really liked school, so like I took a lot of classes and didn't realize that I took enough to graduate early. So like I graduated college a year early and I went straight for my master's.
Now, where'd you go to grad school?
I went to Fordham.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, did you move back home or you still stay?
Yep, so I moved back home. I commuted from Long Island to the city for grad school 5 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, were you still working with your dad?
So at this point, yes, but also this was around the time when I started my site. I really liked doing DIY stuff. I really liked crafting. I really liked just like making things with my hands. And one day my friend was like, you should start a blog. And I was like, what is a blog? Like, I have no idea what that is. But she like showed me the ropes and I did, and I literally didn't think anyone would follow it except for like my mom and dad. And it kind of like turned into this, and yeah, it's awesome. I'm like stoked about it.
So, okay, what was the first thing you made on your vlog?
Oh, it was embarrassing. It was I took a picture frame and I like took the center of the frame out and I put like a cork board there and I basically made like a framed cork board and I was like, here's my project, guys.
All right, so after grad school, you said you were in PhD.
Yeah, so after grad school, I went for my master's and then I went for my PhD. I juggled running like my content creation woodworking business with my internships and my dissertation and my hours that I needed to get for that. And then, yeah, and then now I've been a working psychologist for 3 years. That's my full-time job.
Okay. Now, as a psychologist, who do you see? Who do you work with?
I work with teenagers. I work with high schoolers. So I work with students that are from like 14 to 18. And I work in a school setting. So it's really awesome. And like, I really enjoy it. And I personally did love high school. So the fact that like I'm working in a high school with high schoolers, I think is like ironic in its own way. But I like really genuinely love what I
do. Do any of them remind you of you when you were in high school?
Oh, totally. In like good ways and bad ways, you know?
All right. So when did this woodworking thing pick up?
So when I was in grad school, my other half, he's a musician, and he one day wanted a sign that said support local music for his gigs. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll make one of those for you. And I got a palette and I like cut it up and I made this sign for him. And it was about then, like he had it at a show and like all these people were so stoked on it. And they were like, what is that? I need one of those. And so I was like, sure. I started making custom signs for people. And then I was like, oh man, like, why am I not sharing the woodwork part of what I do on my website? Like at that point, it was just crafts and like arts and crafts stuff and like refinishing furniture, but it wasn't like, look what I can make with tools. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to start showing what I do. And I did. And it was like such a pivotal moment for me and my brand. And like, it just, like it clicked, like it just like clicked. I can't explain it.
All right. So how many signs have you made?
Oh God, probably like honestly, I sold them for like 4 or 5 years. So, and I've sold them to like stores and people. I've probably made like 150 signs that are like river somewhere. Yeah.
So what's the biggest sign you've made?
The biggest one I made was a giant American flag. I believe it was like, I'm trying to think of how big it was. I want to say it was like 6 feet long. And then however many high with all the stripes and stuff. But yeah, it was big. And I sold it at like a craft fair and I was like shocked that anyone bought it, to be quite honest.
So how much you sell that for?
I think I sold it for like $125.
Okay. All right. And how long did that take you to make?
A long time. Like I definitely undersold myself. But I obviously like you have to have those moments of doing that before you like realize your worth, right?
Yep, we all go through it.
Yeah.
So you start out making signs and you were doing this where? In your dad's garage?
So my parents had this small storage shed in their backyard, and my dad had the shed for his classic car business. So it was like storage for all of his parts and whatever he had left over for stock. And I literally took up this like small, tiny corner in the shed with like one workbench and like half a sheet of like pegboard. And I was like, this is my space. So I started there and then like slowly began to like move his stuff out of the way and like added a second workbench and added more pegboard and like added tools. And then next thing you know, I'm like taking up literally 50% of this shed space. And I would always show like the pretty side, like this is my workshop. And then like one day I was like, you guys want to see what I'm dealing with? And like flip the camera, and people were like, so, so it was just like a tiny little space. Probably about like, if I'm being generous, maybe like 80 square feet of space that I was working in. So that was like my first real workshop, and I was like super grateful that my dad let me have that space.
Okay, so how long did you work in that space?
I was in that space for, well, let's see, this summer will be 2 years in this space. So I was in that space for like 5 years. I want to say 5 years. And then my parents moved, and my dad and my mom are awesome, and they let me build a new shop in their new backyard. So now I'm in a 144 square foot shed.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
How did that process go about you building your own shed, your work shed? And you built this.
Yeah, with my dad. We built it together.
All right, so tell us about that.
Well, okay, so
how did you determine how big it would be?
So there are variances and ordinances where they live that explain like how big you can have your shed before you need
10 by 10?
So 12 by 12 is the max that we can have.
That's good. So it's bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. So 12 by 12 is the max that we could put. And
okay, so let me hold on. And what that means is 12 by 12 is the biggest or smallest you can make without having a permit.
Yes.
To the listeners.
To apply for like an extension, and then like therefore it affecting your taxes because it's considered like another living space.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead.
Yeah, so we decided 12 by 12. It's behind my dad's garage, and like he at some point really wanted to extend his garage so he could fit more cars in, but now like my shop is there, so sorry, Dad. But yeah, so we had like the plot of land kind of figured out. We had to like clear it, level it, and then yeah, just built it from there. We built the foundation from scratch, and then the rest of the shed came in a shed kit, which means that it was like a lot of pre-cut pieces, and that essentially like they were already pre-cut. We had to like assemble everything. So that's what we did. It took us, because it was super hot, we decided to build this thing like 100-degree weather in August, because like why not, you know? And yeah, it took us 5 full days of labor to get the structure of the shop, but it probably took like, with my full-time job and everything, like 4 to 6 more months to get it like ready to really work in.
To dial it in.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like always a work in progress, right? Like I've been in here now for, this summer will be 2 years, which like blows my mind, but you know, like I'm still upgrading tools and figuring out what's working and like figuring out what I use and don't use and what would be better. So I think that that's always part of the journey, is like figuring out what works and doesn't work in your space. Right.
So how many tools do you have in there? How many machines?
You want me to count? Because there's a lot.
Give us a tour.
It's really messy, but I'll give you a tour. Okay.
Tour.
Okay, so let's this is the entrance to my shop. So like that's kind of like my tool wall of like all the small stuff, right? And then to the left, I have my miter saw and my lathe with like storage underneath, because you have to have storage everywhere. And then to the right is my table saw and like my sander and my planer. And then just like a workbench in the middle as well. So that's it. Like this is my shop.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then I kind of get creative with storage. So I store some lumber in the ceiling, store some over there on some shelves, store some up there. So like there's just, you have to get creative, right? Like I use as much wall space as I can. My charging station over there. So yeah. And then on this side, if you look at it from this way, I have like a chalkboard wall. And then my dust collection. Yeah, that's my space.
Have you ever spent the night in there?
No, but sometimes I do wish I could have a slumber party in here.
Say that again?
Sometimes I do wish I could have a slumber party in here. Like, why not, right?
Right. Invite the girls over.
Yeah, exactly.
So you do a lot of YouTubing, right?
Yeah, so I started with like the blogging stuff, and then YouTube scared the crap out of me. It still does scare the crap out of me. At this point, like so honest. And every time I publish a video, like I am very anxious.
Why?
I don't know. Like there's something like I admire people who can like put out YouTube videos and it's super natural for them. But for me, it's like there's something in me that feels very vulnerable, like putting my work out there sometimes and like showing my process, knowing that that's not always everybody's process, and knowing that everybody has a different way of doing things, and sometimes that's feedback that comes back to me, and I understand that. But it's like I don't know. I just think it's like look, like I started this because I want to teach people how to do stuff and show people like you don't need huge shops to do things. Like everything here I've gotten, you know, you can buy at like Home Depot, right? So like that's always been my goal, is that you can honestly just do really cool stuff with things that you can buy at your local home store. And like that's always been the goal, is to show people that. But not everybody has access to the things that I have access to. So like it is difficult sometimes to like want to teach, but know that sometimes it's not always relatable to everybody.
Okay, so with that being said, do you have sponsors?
I do have sponsors. I'm very fortunate. Yeah. And the sponsors that I work with are brands that like I 100% believe in and I use on the regular, and they're brands that I've been with for years. Because
you can name them.
Yeah, so like Home Depot is one, right? Like I'm floored every day that Home Depot works with me, but I get to try new tools and like get different color tools in my workshop. This wall used to be all green because that's what I could afford.
Okay, so explain to me, how does that work? If you have a sponsor, do you get a care package once a week, or?
So when I work with my sponsors, it's more of like a product basis. So let's say I'm very fortunate because there are lots of times where like I have ideas for projects and I'll reach out to my sponsors and be like, hey, you make this product, I want to do this product would be great for this project, and then we like go from there, and then we decide on like a project. So I'm very fortunate because that's how I want it to be. I want it to be organic. Like I want this to be something that like makes sense for me, because I want to share things that I use on a basis. And I'm very fortunate that the sponsors that I work with, like I can do that.
Okay, cool. So you, and I spoke to Tamar about this, and MJ here. So you are a part of like a girl crew, right? Officially, unofficially, unspoken, but there's like a girl crew.
Yeah, I mean, like there are some really badass women doing cool maker shit. I'm sorry, like, sorry, pardon my French. Sorry, mom and dad. But it's the New York in me, like But there really are some really awesome ladies like in this maker community, and I'm like so grateful to be surrounded by them.
So who do you admire most?
There are a lot. Like okay, so Tamar is amazing, and like we got to collaborate a couple months ago, and it was like one of my favorite things ever, because I just got to like learn so much from her, or like different, like MJ, for instance. When I was teaching myself how to weld, I had MJ on speed dial. Like the fact that like I can have maker friends in this community on speed dial and be like, I don't know what I'm doing, help, and they're like, I got you, is like amazing. So it's hard to be like, yeah, I admire just one, because like they all bring something different to the table, and getting to collaborate them, whether it's directly or indirectly, is like the coolest thing ever.
Okay, so how many maker shows do you all do a year?
Conferences, I usually go to like one conference a year. I really like Workbench conference a lot, so that tends to be
that's in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, that's been in Atlanta, yeah. So that tends to be like the one that I really plan out and go to. But other than that, like some of the other stuff I do is more like brand specific. So like Home Depot might have an event where like we get to see some new tools that are coming out next year, or other brands might have things so that they can show us their facilities and have us play with new product. Like I did one for Moss epoxies last year, where I got to like learn more about how to use epoxy, like things like that. So it really just depends on the year and like who's hosting what.
All right. What motivates you? What drives you? What keeps you doing this when you have a job?
I love both so much. Like I couldn't imagine my life having to give up psychology or like DIY hunters. Like I can't imagine living in a world where like those two things aren't part of my life, because like they both make me so happy. Like my psychology job makes me happy because I personally feel like there are days when like I'm giving back and like I'm helping people through things, and like I'm that person's person, right? And then woodworking is like my personal therapy. Like woodworking for me is the thing that brings me like joy outside of my job, right? So like there are weeks where I have really tough weeks at work, or really heavy weeks at work, and like I just engross myself in the workshop all weekend. And then there are weeks where like, you know, I like if I have a week off and I spend the whole week in the shop, like I can't wait to go back to work and like see my kids and like see my coworkers. So in that way, I guess like the answer to that is they both just make me super happy, make me feel very complete, and like I couldn't imagine having just one, if that makes sense.
So, right. So what do you find the most challenging in each?
Me personally, like as a big picture, sometimes time management is the most challenging for me, because I want to do everything. And my favorite saying is like, you can do anything but not everything. And I always have to like remind myself of that. Like I have to set those boundaries of like, I can't work all the time, right? Like that's the most challenging part is I love working. And because I love working and I love what I do, like I have to set that boundary.
So okay. So what does a typical day look like for you? Take me Monday through Friday.
Okay, so Monday
8 a.m. to
it's
7.
early. So Monday through Friday, I have to be at my job by like 7:15, 7:20 in the morning. So, you know, wake up 6:30, get to work. And then I work, my day technically ends at like 3 o'clock-ish. Sometimes I stay later because sometimes I like to help the kids at the high school build their sets for their plays and like teach them how to use power tools. So sometimes I'll stay late depending on like what that schedule is like.
So you teaching kids how to use, you teach like shop?
So like there isn't like a shop class, which sucks. Like I wish more schools had shop classes because I had that in middle school and I loved it.
That's a big problem with the country and people learning trades.
I know, and like I am finding that more schools are trying to like implement them back in again, which I think is great. But yeah, so we don't have a shop class. So the kids that are building the sets play for their drama club haven't really had to like teach them how to do it safely or like appropriately or like learn the basics of tools. So I'm very fortunate years at my job, like I've been able to be that person. So like I teach them, we do like a power tool 101, like a power tool safety, how to like build floor joists, to build like freestanding walls, like things like that.
Okay. So all right. So at this time, 3 or 4 o'clock, you go home and then what?
I come home, I'll like decompress, maybe like catch a snack, and then I'll usually hop in my workshop until about 6:30, when my other half gets home from work. And then I get to like kind of spend the rest of the day with him. And that's really my day. And then, you know, sometimes though, it's not always in the workshop. Like sometimes I'll have to edit content or like edit a video or a blog post. So sometimes those extra few hours I have in between like work and then the end of his day, like I'll spend doing something for my website.
So, okay, how many hours a week would you say you're in your shop?
So like weekends, I'm definitely in here for like 8 hours or so a day. So that's like 16 hours just between Saturday and Sunday. And then I add on, I don't know, anywhere from like 2 to 3 hours per day. So let's just say like 15. So I would say 30 hours or so.
Okay.
On
Now,
average.
how much? Okay, that's in the shop. How much time do you put into editing?
I would say, okay, backtrack then, because I would say I split that. So like, let's say 30 hours a week, I am doing like woodworking content, DIY hunters stuff. Like that's what I would probably change that to. But when I'm editing, like when I have to add extra hours for editing, sometimes it can be like another 40 hours onto my.
Yeah. I mean, 'cause I just started doing this, and I have a couple of guys helping me with the editing, putting on YouTube. It's a lot.
Yeah, it takes a long time. It does, and it's like then you get streamlined for something, and then it's like the next best thing comes out, and you're like, oh crap, I gotta like teach myself something new, and like it's so frustrating, but like you know it's gonna be worth it, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So, what's the coolest thing you've built?
My dining table where I got the slabs from you. Are you kidding me? Like I'm still so proud. I can't believe that thing is still like standing. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so tell us about that.
Okay, so I got to come have a play date with you, which was awesome. And then I brought my whole family and
The whole family.
the whole
She
family
means
came.
mom, dad,
So back,
mother.
my mom has been asking me to build her a dining room table for like years, and I haven't been confident enough in my own abilities to do so. Like I always doubted myself. I was like, I've never worked with an 8-foot long live edge slab. I've never joined 2 8-foot long live edge slabs together. I've never welded a base for a table. And then finally I was like, you know what? Like F this. I'm gonna just do it. And I reached out to you, right? And I had already been to your yard before, and I'm obsessed with it. It's like one of my happy places, I swear. But like I reached out to you and I was like, do you think I could do this? And you were like, yeah. Like you were just like, of course you can do this. Like I know you can. So the whole family trip to you, and I had my parents pick out the slabs that they liked, and you know, you helped so much with that. And then I don't have like industrial size machinery, so Rob did most of the flattening for me.
Well, okay, but let me tell you.
Yeah.
That we do that for a lot of people.
Yeah.
When a lot of shops buy lumber, it's dressed.
Yeah.
Only thing they do is assemble.
Yeah, and that was the thing is like you did like the legwork for me. The only thing I ended up having to do was like a little bit of planing, and I used like my powered hand planer, and like that was it. But I remember like bringing the slabs home, and I kept like texting you, and I was like, are you sure if I do it this way it's gonna stay together? Like, are you sure it's not gonna fall apart? Like, are you sure? And you were just like, you got this, do it, like just do it. And so you pushing me like really helped with that. So yeah, so I literally did. I took like a month of my summer because I have summers off for my job, and I built this 8-foot long live edge table, and I taught myself how to weld with the help of like MJ and my buddy John. Like,
so, okay, how long did that take? Because let me tell you, when I first started, right? I have a house upstate where there's a bunch of old tractors, old cars. So I was always filling with the welder, and it was a stick. So I'm always doing this, doing that, just making stuff work. But I never had any type of formal training or class. And I did it to where I can weld, but I didn't know the essence of welding. I didn't understand welding. So when they had, there was a co-op learning thing in Brooklyn, Third Ward. And Third Ward was this really cool thing where they had a lot of people who were great at what they did, and you can come and learn and take classes from them. That's why I learned to screen print. And I took 2 welding classes. I took MIG, then I took TIG, and I took finishing.
See, like I'm dying to take class. Like I want to take a formal class.
Yeah. She managed that.
Of course
so
you're like the coolest person I know, MJ. Come on.
So once I took the class there, it all became so much easier because I'd done it before. So I also took welding with a torch class. Okay. I took maybe 3 or 4 welding classes, and that made it easier than lots and lots and lots and lots of practice, because it's all about practice.
Yes.
It's not hard at all.
Yes.
MIG is pretty easy. TIG is a little more in depth.
No, I'm not a TIG welder. Like I am definitely not a TIG welder. Like I jumped in with MIG welding, and my thing with welding was like, I don't know why, but maybe because I never touched a welder before, I was like nervous about touching a welder for the first time because I'm not used to working with metal really. But I will say, so at Workbench conference one year, Lincoln Electric was there, and they had a MIG welder or a welder there that was so easy. It was literally plug and go. Like you plug it in, you dial in what you're using, you stick the spool in there and you go. And I remember like they give you maybe 2.5 minutes to like practice a weld on something. And I did a practice weld and I was like, I'm hooked. Like, this is awesome. This is so much easier than I thought it would be. And I did. I went home. I got the Slim welder and I got my equipment and I like picked brains and watched YouTube videos and like called friends. And I was like, how do I do this? What's the best way? My dad's done some welding before too. So like, as I'm practicing going, I'm like, Dad, what do I need to fix? Big deal. But like that was it. I think after like 2 days or so, like 2 full days of like playing with practice welds, I was like, all right, I'm ready to do this. And I did, and I welded the bases for the table and the bench. And like, were they the prettiest welds? Hell no, like no way. But they were strong and they were not going anywhere. And that table,
And that's what's important.
yeah, and that table a year later is still standing and looks gorgeous. So like, I'm still so proud. Like, I'm staring at another project right here that I just welded for my bookshelf project.
You want to share?
Yeah, sure. So like, but the welds on this one are so much better, right? Because it's like exactly that, like you practice. So these are the bases, or these are 2 of the bases, but like, I mean, these are painted already, but like that looks pretty good for someone who, you know, is still learning. Like these seams, like that's like flawless seam.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, so I mean, look, I still have lots to learn. I think that's the beauty of what we do is like there's always something to learn. You know?
Yep. Put the bevel in there, put the weld in it, grind it out.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
Okay. So let's go to some questions and see what people are asking us. Alan J. Parsons.
Hi.
Sam inspired me to get out of my depression and get back to my woodworking. I followed a few of Sam's bills and made my own. Good for you, Alan. I suffer from depression as well. Keep it moving. Come to Maple Central, UK.
I know. That's on my list.
So I'm going to shoot that bird in the background. Is that a real bird?
It's a real bird. We have weird birds here. We got parrots. We got woodpeckers. We got some weird stuff here.
And this is outside your shop?
This is like right, like my shop doors are open. Yeah, so.
Nelly Raimondi, I love that table. Hi, Robert. Hello, Nelly.
That's my mom. Hi, Mom.
What's up, girl? Throw that car in the garage.
I don't know what kind of bird that is. I know it's supposed to be. I have no idea. I should do some bird watching back here.
MJ, Third Wall was the first co-working space in the country. That's cool. Third Wall was really, there was a lot of ballers there. So what's next for you?
Like project wise or journey wise?
Both.
Project wise, I gotta finish up this. It's taken forever. So that's project wise. Have a couple more projects planned with my dad this summer too, like more like bigger spaces and some custom work. So that'll be fun. I don't know, journey wise, I'm like hustling right now to save for a house because Long Island's expensive. So
Are you going to stay in Long Island?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's hard. I feel like sometimes it's hard to leave where you grew up, right? And like it's hard to leave when your family's here. You're just so used to like a certain lifestyle. So at least for now.
Okay. What project do you want to do that you haven't done, that you may be afraid to do?
It's a good question because I've been thinking about that a lot recently. Like, what is on my bucket list? Like, what do I want to really make at some point in my life that would be a super big, like, would be a challenge? And I'll be honest, like, my friend Alicia is building a house right now, and like I'm watching her build it, and she's so cool. And like it makes me feel like at some point in my life I would love to build a house or like a tiny house or something. Like that's I think on my list of things that are like a bucket list build.
Okay. Mooseworks, what's up business wise in your direction?
Business wise, you know, like I feel very comfortable with where I am right now. I've now been like religiously posting to YouTube for 2 years now. So like I want to do more of that and keep growing and like learning more software and more editing, like that. But other than that, like I think that's really it. You know, at some point, maybe like years and years down the line, I'd love to do like private practice for therapy, and then like have some sort of like shop where I can have people come and learn how to use tools safely and do that. But I think that's like down the line.
Okay. Have you tried wood carving?
I've tried like power carving, but I haven't really done like any hand carving yet.
Okay. How much turning have you done?
Turning, I love turning. I mostly love turning like weird things though, like bottle stoppers for like my wine bottles, or like scoops for like coffee. Like those are the things I like turning, but it is on my list of things I want to turn. I want to start turning some wood for furniture.
Okay. Do you have anything that you've turned that you want to share?
I don't know if I do in here. Most of the stuff I have is like in the house. So no, I don't have anything here. But if I did, I would. But like they're like coffee scoops and like little things.
What advice would you give to someone who's starting out?
Woodworking or content wise?
Both.
Okay. So I guess for woodworking, like one of the things I wish I knew right away was like you don't have to have every tool to start. Like there are tons of projects that you can make with limited tools, and like that's okay. You know, if you
Exactly.
like, you know, you can start with like a circular saw and you know a straight edge guide out of a piece of wood, and like you don't need a track saw right away. Like you know what I mean? Like I just got my track saw 2 years ago as a gift from like my other half, and it's great, but like I didn't start with a track saw. For many years I started with a circular saw. So like start with things that you feel like you're comfortable using before you jump to anything else. Like that's always my best advice. And then for the content creation stuff, like just share what makes you happy and support people whose work also makes you happy. And like you're gonna find your journey through that. Like some of my best friends in the world are people I've met through this. Like if like 10 years ago you said, if I said to my mom 10 years ago I met my best friend online, she'd be like, what? But like now it's like so normal. So just like find your tribe, like find the people you mesh with, genuinely support people that like you really connect with. Like, it'll all kind of click together and come together.
Okay, what about content-wise?
Yeah, content-wise, like that's my biggest thing is like, I wish it didn't take me so long to share what made me happiest because I was like nervous how it would be received. So like jump right in, you know, like for me, it's like, I wish I started sharing my woodworking stuff earlier in my journey, but I was nervous for like my own reasons that I had to work on personally. But like, I don't know, just if there's something that you like, share it. And like, this is something too that is a really big piece of advice. Like, don't care so much about what other people are going to think about what you're putting out. Like, just put it out, because like when you start doing that, then you're going to attract the right people for your brand.
And they're going to help you, right?
Right.
Yeah, some people are going to help you grow. Some people are going to help you get better, and you're going to help people get better.
Right.
So there's a chain. Now, for me, it was difficult. Like, I would post a lot, but I wouldn't post about me. I would just put work out there, and I'm out.
But I noticed that when I first met you, right? And I used to say that to you. Like, I never see you. Like, I see your stuff, and it's awesome, but I never see you.
Right. So if you notice, in the last few months, when I decided to do the conversations, it was a leap for me. It was difficult. I decided to do it, and now I feel better about it. But before I had anxiety.
Right.
I was never on this side of the camera. I was always putting the work out and go. I never really spoke much about me or life or me being depressed or dealing with depression and anxiety or any of that stuff. And now that I am able to communicate about that, I feel a lot better.
Well, the thing too is like, I always remind myself of this too, is like, the reason I like sharing those things is because A, it's what makes us human, right? Like we all are on our own journeys. We all have like our own things that we bring to the table. And B, it's like, you never know who is going to connect with you on that when you share it. Like this is why like I share on social media my really good days, but I also sometimes share my bad days because like everybody has highs and lows and goods and bads, and like I think it's important
Yep.
to share those things because someone may relate to you that day. Like there may be a day where I'm like, you know, kicking myself because like I made a mistake, and then I'm very open and verbal about it, and then someone writes me and they're like, I really needed to hear that today, and that's just like one person. I'm so happy that I can feel like I'm relatable and I'm human.
Right. Caboose Works is you seem to want to go down the instructional teaching. I would guest speak an instructor for a guild meeting or working space. Is that your wheelhouse?
Yeah, I mean, like, I really enjoy teaching people. Like, this is why I started my website. Like, I started sharing plans and tutorials because I want to empower other people to, like, pick up a tool and learn. You know, like I said, at some point, whether it's, like, my retirement plan or, like, 20-year plan or my 15-year plan, like, I don't know, but it's going to be really cool to, like, be able to do more hands-on stuff with people.
It says, who is your dream head-to-head matchup against if you went on flea market flip again?
Ooh. There's so many. You know who would be awesome? Charlotte from At Charlotte's House. I don't know if you know her yet, but she is dope, and she is like has the coolest visions for like these things that already exist in the world, and like makes them really awesome. And she would totally kick my butt, but like I would totally go against her in a heartbeat.
And what's her name?
Charlotte at Charlotte's House.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And she was on Flea Market Flip once, so be perfect.
Okay. You both are awesome. Love your work. Thanks, Jay College. Rob, love how you're doing these lives. Yeah, it's good for me too.
Yeah, you're killing it. Like you are pumping them out. There are a lot of really awesome people that you're meeting with.
Yeah, when I first did it, there was a few people I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you when I first decided, I went in a group with 20 people. Like, hey, I want to do this, and I did that because I wanted 20 witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want anyone to steal the idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to have all these people in the room saying, this is what I want to do, and I want to interview you all.
I love it.
So the whole point was for us to sit down and do this,
mm-hmm.
to actually get to know the people that we follow, the people that encourage us, the people that motivate us, the people that we learn from. And some people are awkward. Like for me, it was difficult to get on this side of the camera. And for other people, I'm sure that they have their issues. And what this does is it slows us down for a minute,
mm-hmm.
and it allows us to tell about ourselves and the environment that we work in. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. This morning, we did a conversation with Gio Veneer, and Sam honestly decided to do the conversation because of this cool machine he had.
I love that.
He had this machine called a Pac-Man, and they deal with massive slabs. And what the machine does is it grabs the slab and it turns it and puts it back through the sander. And we're talking 7-8 foot slabs that are 20 foot long. So you're talking 4,000 or 5,000 pounds. So
What?
instead of them using 8 or 9 people and it being unsafe, they had this machine custom built that does that. So it was about that machine, and it turned out that this guy has an absolutely wonderful company in a 3rd generation wood lovers. So you never know what's going to be on the other side.
Exactly. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I do it. And I didn't realize it would pick up the way it has. So there's like almost 100.
That's incredible. Like I know every time we talk about it, like all the people out, I'm like, I cannot believe how many people that you're doing this with, and it's like so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I watched the flea market flip. Yeah. So, what are your plans for the summer?
So usually because I work in like a school setting, I have 8 solid weeks off in the summer, and I usually spend those 8 weeks just kind of doing this time, like content creation, building. But yeah, I just spend as much time as I can in the summer in my shop. And honestly, I love it, but by the end of the 8 weeks, I'm just ready to go back to work for sure.
Okay, so this is one of the things that I want to do with the page. And we've done it once before, but I want to do it more. And that's when Jack English and Tyler Dunsker got on. Jack took over the page, and he talked with Tyler. So if I said, Sam, I want you to take over the page and interview somebody, who would it be?
Ooh. Who would it be? There's so many people I admire that I want to learn more about, like, on a deeper level.
Come on, man. You got one. All you got is one.
Can it be, like, anyone at all?
Anyone.
It would totally be Jimmy DiResta.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to meet with him and interview him.
Okay. All right. So I'll reach out to him.
What's up, Jimmy? Sam wants to interview.
All right. What is it? He's not going to say no because he wants his name everywhere.
He's really cool. Him and I graduated from the same high school.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does he know that?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, we've talked about it before. I actually told him I'm gonna I want to petition to get him on we have like a Hall of Fame where like people, his brother's on it, but he's not. I'm like, I don't understand. So. Yeah.
He's a very talented man.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. I see Jess Crow. Jess Crow is awesome too. Like she would be fun to interview.
Who?
Jess Crow. She does like really awesome epoxy resin stuff.
Okay.
She does pasta too, which is like cool in its own way.
All right, so let's hook that up.
Yeah, for sure.
So longest road trip you've taken?
To Nashville, 14 hours one way.
Did you drive straight there?
Yeah, we didn't stop.
And what was this for?
Just for like wanted to do like like my other half and I are both like workaholics, like we work a lot, but we had a week where I had spring break from school and he was able to get off of work that week too, and we were like, where do we want to go? Let's take a road trip. And we're big music people, so we were like, let's go to Nashville. So we drove to Nashville and we stayed for a couple days and then we drove back.
So who did you go see?
We just like honestly love little like bars and like small cute places where like there's live music, and so we just like kind of went from different places and just went to see like different artists, and it's wild over there because like there's just music everywhere like all day, and it was really cool.
Did you stop at any distilleries?
I don't think we did. We did like more of like we're like museum coffee shop people, so like we did like museums, coffee shops, lots of food, as much music as we could like inhale while we were there. So I don't think we did a distillery on that trip, no.
And Alan J. Parsons, did you visit April Wilkerson?
Oh, I wish. I love that girl. I love her. Like she's just genuinely so sweet and like so cool. She's awesome. Now,
okay, you didn't know her then, right?
I did, but like not. Can I tell you a fun fact about April Wilkerson?
Yes.
When I was going to start my YouTube channel and I was like dragging my feet, April, who like we had never really spoken before, she reached out to me and she was like, you have to do this. Like you have to do YouTube. Like you're like this maker chick in the space and like you do cool stuff. Like you have to do it. Like I don't care what I gotta do. I gotta like help you, like push you along. And she totally did. Like she like email chains on email chains convincing me to start my YouTube channel. And like, she's just so cool that like my first YouTube video went out and she was like one of the first people commenting on it. She's just like so genuinely awesome and such a huge supporter of like, especially women in this field doing this. And like, I admire that so much because it's all about like lifting people up instead of competition. And like, that is the coolest thing.
Well, that's it. Two things. That's what a girl crew comes in, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, this is so funny, right? You talked about going to Texas, and AJ Parson goes, did you visit April Wilkerson? And MJ goes, she's in Texas.
I talked about Nashville, right? So April's in Texas.
Right. And Texas and Nashville are opposite ends of the earth.
Yeah. Austin, Texas is on my list of places I want to visit at some point, though.
Yeah.
So
say it again?
I gotta plug in while we talk.
Yeah. So Alan Parsons got it mixed up with Annie Bar Trades.
Animal Trades is another one. She's also so awesome.
Yes, Rebecca D. Groot is awesome as well, too. She's in Texas. I asked her to come on. She was a little iffy. Hadn't said yes yet.
Say yes. So I'm trying to like stick my phone in like a charger situation. Trying to get creative over here. That's what we do.
Yep, gotta make it work.
Okay, gonna make it work.
All right. So, do you feel, and I asked Tamar this, does the predominantly white male field make you feel uncomfortable or a little hesitant with your work, or does that bother you at all? And I said, for me, it doesn't, because everybody's cool with me. It's some of these guys have become my best friends. Ben and I are super, super cool.
I'm very fortunate that the people who support me and like follow along are very like, they're just supportive and they're encouraging, and like they, you know, they just like, they show up for me and they like push me to be better. So like I haven't really like run into that issue where I felt like there's a specific group of people that like don't want me to succeed. Like I just feel like so genuinely supported by
there's a lot of love going on.
Yeah, like I just like, I always say this, but like I wish that everybody who put themselves out there on the internet had the kind of support that I have, because I really am genuinely so grateful for that. And like I know I say it a lot, and like I probably, it's like, I don't know, like I say it all the time, like how grateful I am for the support that I get, but like I mean it, because I just like don't know if I would push myself as hard as I do without it. You know what I'm saying?
Your mom says, ask Sam what's the most exciting thing she's ever done in her life.
The most exciting thing I've ever done in my life?
MJ, pull over.
What?
She's like, I probably should not be driving and watching and texting.
MJ, why are you driving and watching at the same time? This is amazing. She's risking her life for me right now. What is happening?
That's what girls do.
Damn. I don't know. Exciting? I don't know. Like, let's specify. Like, most exhilarating thing I've ever done is gone skydiving. Like, that's for sure on the top of my list.
Nice.
That was awesome. That was fun. I'll never do it again. Like, I tempted fate once. Like, that was great. But, like, I don't know. Most exciting thing? And there are a lot of exciting things. Like, there are a lot of huge milestones in my life. And it's the same way with, like, it is with, like, maker friends and people I support and love. Like, it's so hard to list things at the top of your list sometimes, because... Right. Like, it's all of that shapes me and, like, who I am, so.
Yeah. Alan J. Parsons, no politics on here.
No politics allowed.
No religion, no sex, no race, none of that.
I like these.
What about Alaska?
Oh, yes. We did go to Alaska. That was awesome. I got to hike a glacier, which was, like, the coolest thing ever. Nice. And like go like inside the glacier. Like I didn't realize there were like caves and glaciers, like ice caves. And then it was like this really awesome blue color, and got to like drink some spring water. Like that was awesome. MJ. I feel like that's it. I will hang up while driving
now. Sex meaning gender. So we have 47 seconds.
Okay.
So
go.
Thank you. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on. It's always good to see you.
Feeling is so beautiful.
I wish you the best, and I enjoy seeing you.
I know. Same to you. I have to, when this is all said and done and over, I'm coming to hang out and play in your lumberyard and pick some pieces. So get ready for me.
Yep. So next week we have Humble Matter, Matt Cremona, Alabama Woodworker, Jay Rustin, and 2 others I'm missing. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Dope lineup.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we got 8 seconds.
8 seconds. Peace,
yes.
love. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for supporting. Thank you for being awesome.